So recently I have been diving into some of my retro games. Been playing a couple of games on some handhelds, like my 3DS and my PlayStation Vita right here. And I have been playing a mix of a couple of turn-based RPGs, playing an old classic on the PlayStation 2 that is one of my all-time favorites, as well as discovering a different version of a game that I did really enjoy when I played it on the Nintendo Switch. So with that, I am Metro Otaku Gamer here, and let's talk about 4 games that I've currently been playing. And before we do that, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you stay updated on when I upload. And let's dive right on into this. So, back around somewhere around like 2018 when I got my first ever Nintendo Switch, the very first game I ever got for it was Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. And recently, for my birthday, I got Rayman Legends on the PlayStation Vita. And I have been diving into this, and this is a bit different because Definitive Edition has a bit more content in it. This is the sequel to Rayman Origins, which was the revival of the Rayman series. Rayman is one of the series that I grew up playing. Really enjoyed it. Now, with Rayman Legends, you play as Rayman and his friends. They have been sleeping for like hundreds of years, and now everything has gone haywire. Nightmares have taken over the world and have turned it into kind of a medieval fantasy type world with a bit of like sci-fi mixed in as well. And it is absolutely amazing. Playing it on the PlayStation Vita has kind of gotten me to rethink about what one of my favorite games in the series is, which was Rayman Origins. And I gotta say, Rayman Legends kind of takes it above and beyond. Not only that, they did add levels from Origins in the form of the Back to Origins sections, which you have to unlock those levels by gaining lucky tickets. By earning enough lums within a level, you earn a lucky ticket, and then you can like play a scratcher mini game in order to unlock different creatures that you can collect, as well as the Back to Origins levels. And this also introduced something that is kind of frustrating to me, and there are levels where you have to take control of Murphy and control Murphy through and guide Glowbots with Murphy through these levels using touch controls, and they can be quite finicky. There are a lot of times where I just cannot do what I want Murphy to do because he just wants to hover in the corner. Now, you can, while playing on the PlayStation Vita, you can use the back touchscreen controls, but I prefer to just use the regular touchscreen. And I really do like Rayman Legends. It's a really great 2D side-scrolling platformer. It looks absolutely beautiful no matter what console you play it on. And it is available on other consoles like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, the Wii U. There's also the Definitive Edition on the Nintendo Switch. And any version of that game I highly recommend. So yeah, I've been playing Rayman Origins recently. So, the next game that I've been playing is a turn-based RPG that I have been playing on my Nintendo 3DS, but it's actually a Nintendo DS game. This is a bit of an underrated gem from Sega. I currently only own a loose copy of Sands of Destruction. I'm currently about 7 hours into the game, and I'm really enjoying it. So, the story centers around the main character. His name is Tyrdie, and he gets tangled up with this group called the World Annihilation Front, whose most notorious member is this young female named Morte, and together they are on a quest to kind of destroy the world. Now, the world is ruled by the Beast Lords, there are humans, and then there are ferals, and there's a bit of a class discrepancy between them. The ferals and humans, most of them can't really live coexistently, and there's also this cycle of destruction and world rebirth throughout the majority of this game's universe. It's a turn-based RPG with the main combat being focused on the bottom screen, and there are some enemies that will take over the top screen. They're like aerial enemies, and you can perform different combos. You have like a heavy attack, and then you have these like chained flurry attacks, and you can unlock more by using like CP that you gain in battle, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the story. There's also an anime that's going along, that came out alongside it. It came out around 2007. The anime was done by Funimation, and the game was developed by Sega, and this is like one of their lesser known titles in my opinion. I don't really hear a lot of people talking about Sands of Destruction. It's not that long of a game. You could probably beat it within 20 to 25 hours. And like I said, I'm about 7 hours into it. There are some parts that could be quite difficult. Some battles you'll have to do over and over and over again. You may have to do some level grinding, and with the level grinding and the battles, it's all random encounters, so you don't get to see the enemies on screen. They will just pop up wherever. Now, the reason that it's named Sands of Destruction is that the whole entire world is like covered in a sea of sand, and you go to all these different continents within this giant, vast sand-like planet, and there are different variations of environments. There are forests, there are swamps, there's cities, there's actual like water oceans and all that, and some of the different locations are quite enjoyable to explore. And if you haven't played Sands of Destruction, I highly recommend it. I'm really enjoying it. I picked up my copy from my local retro game store, Next Level Games, and I'm so glad I finally got around to playing what I consider to be a hidden gem on the Nintendo DS. Now, this is going to be a bit of a throwback. I have been recently getting back into one of my all-time favorites that I played a lot on the PC. I really enjoyed the first game, but the second game kind of blew the first game out of the water, and that is Star Wars Battlefront 2 here on the PlayStation 2. I've played this multiple times all the way through. I've been recently getting back into the main campaign, where it covers the rise of the Empire, and you're playing as members of the 501st Legion. Now, some of the moments in this game's story don't really match up with like the movies per se, but it does kind of follow the events of Episode 3, like the end game events, and then leading into the rise of the Empire. And this is a really great third-person / first-person shooter. Now, I've mainly been playing it in third-person mode until recently, when I discovered via like a Metal Jesus video that you could play it in first-person. Yeah, I was pretty surprised that you can actually play Star Wars Battlefront 2 in first person, and I'm really liking it. Playing it in first person, I played the heck out of this game. It is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars games, next to the more modern Jedi games that star Cal Kestis with Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Now, the reboot of the Battlefront series, it's okay, but it doesn't capture the feeling of the original Battlefront games, and sadly we never got Star Wars Battlefront 3, which would have brought both land and space combat that was first seen in Star Wars Battlefront 2. There are missions where you get to fight in space. using the starfighters going up against enemy flagships and their starfighters. And it is absolutely fantastic. I really like the space combat. There's the rebels, the clones, the droids, the Imperials. You get to choose whichever faction that you want. Not really during the campaign, but there's a mode called Instant Action where you can load up all the different maps, and there are even some maps that don't appear in the campaign, like Camino, the Camino cloning facility. There's also some space missions that don't appear in the main campaign that are available in Instant Action, and you can play this game for hundreds of thousands of hours. And it even supports up to 2 players, and I just really love Star Wars Battlefront 2. The last game here that I want to share with you guys that I've been recently playing is another turn-based RPG and another PlayStation 2 game. That is Atelier Iris 3 Grand Phantasm. This is the third in the Atelier Iris trilogy, and from my understanding, this is more of a prequel to the first 2 games. There's also the spin-off games Monotemia 1 and 2, and this stars some characters whose names I completely forgot, but there's Iris Fortner, and I think the main character's name is Van. I can double check that. Yeah, no, his name is Edge Van Height. There's Iris Fortner and then Nell Ellis, as they are on a journey to discover what is going on with this mysterious book that Iris has had throughout most of her life. And you get to explore these areas called Altar Worlds that are unlocked by doing certain quests. And then there are story missions, and the story missions kind of take like priority over all the different quests that you could do. There are your basic like fetch quests, and then there are just your other different quests that you take on as the main characters are all member of this guild. And in true Atelier fashion, you are able to craft different items and weapons at Iris's Atelier workshop, and that will help you aid in battle. And with turn-based combat, there's also this system where there's this gauge, and once it fills up, you do kind of like a break chain mode, whatever it's called. I am really bad with the terminology in this game, but you're able to do like critical attacks on your enemies. And Edge, he also can like use different weapons. His main weapon is a mech sword, and then there are like other different weapons that he can take on. One of them can turn him into like a ninja, from what I hear. It's a really fantastic game. I've only completed chapter 1. There's like 10 or so chapters in the game. It's somewhere around 30 to 40 hours long, give or take. I could be completely wrong on that, but I am really liking this game so far. I am trying to get more into the Atelier series, and I kind of wanted to start with the PS2 titles. And so far, I like what I am playing. And that's pretty much all I'm going to share with Atelier Iris. I might do a future video on the Atelier Iris trilogy once I played through all of them, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, that's all I'm going to share on Atelier Iris 3. Well, that's it. Those are 4 games that I am currently playing. And just to recap, it was Rayman Legends, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Atelier Iris 3, and Sands of Destruction on the DS. I am really enjoying going into my retro game backlog and playing some games and revisiting an old classic one that I absolutely love, which is Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then, well, as well as Rayman Legends, it's kind of the same as the Nintendo Switch version, but some of the gameplay mechanics are a bit different. So with that, that's going to be it for this video. Please let me know in the comments section below what are some games that you guys are currently playing, and I would love to share more games that I'm currently playing in future videos. So with that, I'm Metro Taco Gamer signing out.